Hey y'all, Darius Rucker here. You know, a lot of people ask me, what inspires your music? And one of the big things is a strong sense of place. That's why I love my home state of South Carolina and want to share the awesome things it has to offer. From the beautiful mountains down to the sunny coast, it's got it all. Not to mention two of my personal favorites, great golf and amazing food. Come see why I love this place. Visit discoversouthcarolina.com.
Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
Dave, it's draft season.
It is.
And it's been a while since we've done a draft. I think was that 2 years ago already? I don't think we did it last year. I feel like it was 2 years ago.
I was injured. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. So, I guess we've got to do it on like Pearl Jam tour years.
Is that what it is? It's every other year that that Pearl Jam hits the bricks. And
what's wild is I was told not to break my leg today because we saw Pearl Jam yesterday, and the last time I saw Pearl Jam, the next day was when I fell down the stairs. So, not good. I'm good. I'm okay. I just have tennis elbow. I just have tennis elbow.
Very, very, very severe improvement in the right direction there, Dave.
But hysterically, I was still at physical therapy today.
two years later, still working out the kinks. But
and shout outs to our friend Yuma and Chris Terry. But Yuma for being awesome at and saying hi at NWA. And
he didn't even wrestle. It was just
he didn't.
So nice.
He was just
it
there.
Was so nice to see him there. Yeah.
But Gags the Gimp did wrestle, and it was great. Gags, spoiler alert for NWA TV, but Gags won his match. So
the other thing that we have to, the other elephant in the room that we have to address before we introduce our guest and get started on this episode is surprise, a very special episode for other reasons. Happy 5th anniversary of Adventures in Collecting, Dave.
It reminds me of the last time I was 5.
Why are you gonna get a Battle Cat for Christmas?
No, it's just toys, right?
It's just toys. So 5 years.
Not just toys, but it's only toys.
Correct. 5 years ago, September 6th, 2019, first ever episode of Adventures in Collecting. So this will be airing just a few days after said anniversary, but we're recording it before the anniversary. So it's a little anniversary sandwich there happening. But 5 whole years of Adventures in Collecting, which is crazy. So congrats to you for being half of this journey, Dave. It's been an absolute
congrats to you for being the other half of this journey.
Doing this. And speaking of doing this, let's not bury the lead. Let's introduce our guest.
As Toy Farce would say, we don't want you to go into the ocean to bury those leads at sea.
Toy Farce. We'll hear more from Toy Farce a little bit later, but
we will.
Today's guest, this week's guest, is a returning guest, friend of the pod. You've heard his voice many times here on this show in various forms, roundtables, individual episodes, in interviews that we've done on show floors. You hear him every time there is a Hasbro Pulse Marvel Legends live stream. Things are about to get legendary. Welcome back to the show, Ryan Ting from Hasbro.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you, Eric and Dave. And I didn't realize this was a big anniversary week show episode for you guys, so it's a even bigger honor for me. And 5 years, that's a lot of adventures and a lot of collecting over that time.
It sure
Yes.
is. And full disclosure, I realized it was 5 years about 30 minutes before we hit the record button here. So it was one of those things where I knew it was coming up, and something just like gut was like, "Oh, let me check the date." And sure enough, we're here.
Also,
We made it.
if we didn't have like a preset topic that's a lot of adventures and a lot of collecting, would work as either an episode title, or a book jacket quote, or both.
Shoot for the stars, Dave. But
Yeah.
shoot for that book jacket quote. Maybe one day we'll write it. We'll write a book.
For
But
sure.
Ryan, welcome back to the show, man. Before we hop in, as a reminder to all of our listeners, this is a show about toys and collecting, in case you're new here. And the first thing that we like to ask all of our guests is check in on them on their personal collections. So, what's something that you've added recently to your personal collection there, Ryan?
So we'll go in descending order because something arrived a few hours ago. I noticed, and we'll talk, I think this will be a topic, as I've mentioned it in a lot of places, but the TMNT Rule of 4, I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. And so I finally noticed on the Walmart app, the 1988 Turtles Remastered were available. All of them were in stock at the same time for the normal retail price. And so I got 2 of each, and they shipped out at different times. The first batch was Leonardo and Donatello. So the two each of those arrived today. Were you guys aware of these? When the news first broke about these, did you guys hear about that news? The first picture that was revealed? Yeah.
Yeah,
that was really exciting.
We're kind of
Yeah.
familiar with that.
Yeah, we definitely heard that.
Yeah. But I'm excited to dig into those when the next 2 arrive, and to unbox a set and build that little rooftop, because I've seen a lot of other people doing it. So I'm excited for that. That arrived today. Over the weekend, I got some of the Simpsons stuff in from 2 places. I got the little figures, the family pack, and then the house with Homer. So that arrived, and then we were just out shopping, and the bigger figures, they had Bart and Otto. So I think I got those 2. So I'm just dabbling because I'm curious about them, and I'm not the biggest Simpsons super fan. Like, I've only watched the first couple of seasons there. But the Playmates toy line, I always thought was super cool, but by the time I was aware of it and would consider collecting it, it had already gotten so big, so it was kind of too daunting to start. This is kind of like a fun place to just jump in and maybe just get the main characters. And I like how they're doing the family pretty much like right away, I guess.
Yeah.
And then moving a little bit back, I got my Odious Unparalleled Universes Odiouses in. I got 2 of the standard one and one of the bear kind of base body. And yeah, so haven't dug into that either. But got a backlog going.
Yep, that's awesome. And shouts to Wade and Unparalleled. That's super cool to see. One of us, if as it were, get a toy out there. So really really cool. And you mentioned the Jax Simpsons. I got the one that I wanted. I've wanted a Bartman for a very long time, and I managed to catch him on Walmart online. So very happy about that.
Yeah, I was. World of Springfield is one of those ones where I kind of was the same as you, where I saw it, and then when I realized, like, oh, this has just been a thing for a while, it was as a kind of, at the time, probably like broke post-college student, I believe that was like an 03-ish, 04-ish, probably around that line.
It feels right.
That's when it came out, I think, because then NECA had it next. But it was one of those ones where I was just like, I can't go back and get all these. So now with these Jax ones, I'm a big ground floor guy. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do it. And I guess that's going to be based off of how they release it, but I like how it's, a Bart, a Homer, and now it's Otto and Willie, Groundskeeper Willie. And then there's those kind of deluxe ones that are coming out.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
The Homer Hulk sort of thing. I've been thinking about getting that one just for my affinity for Hulk. But,
isn't Dracula Mr. Burns one too?
Yeah, it's a Dracula Mr. Burns. I forget what the other ones are, but yeah, I think those have only been on Amazon or Target so far. I forget which, honestly. But
And I love the idea of the oddball characters getting figures too, like a Hans Molman or a Jasper Beardley.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like Simpsons is one of my favorite shows of all time, so
they're really neat figures.
they're really cool.
You know, they move a lot more than you'd expect them to. You know, based on just kind of like looking at them in the box, like I was surprised at how much range of motion is actually in them. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're familiar at all with literally any of those kind of current Jax lines, like the Mario or Sonic, it's part and parcel of kind of the same thing. So like you know what to expect there. But yeah,
I was catching up on Toy Anxiety, I believe, right? Yeah, this week, and they had Attack Peter on, and they were all talking about the new Jax Simpsons line, and Attack Peter had the Krusty, like the
doll.
bigger kind of the doll, the featured one, and so now I kind of want one just
with
after
the
seeing
good
him.
and evil switch.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was the thing I was going to say too. The thing that I'm actually most impressed with is the non-figure stuff. Like the Moe's phone is amazing. The crank calls that are on there are great, and it's loaded with them. I want to say there's like 10 or 12 on there. The Krusty doll is fantastic, but the Burger King esque Simpsons dolls with like you know just kind of the hard head and soft bodies. Those are awesome. And even like Bart has the wrong colors, like just like the old Burger King one did. Like he's got the red shirt on instead of the blue shirt. It's they're really kind of they're hitting the sweet spot, I think, with those.
I thought I saw a
the
blue
Simpsons
one,
offering.
like Bart with the regular shirt on.
One that I saw on Target yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. He had like the reddish orange shirt on, and I was like,
Okay,
oh,
I have
that's
to.
like the Burger King one.
Yeah, I have to look again.
But yeah, I remember that doll went with me everywhere for a while. So I was also
The
thinking about
Maggie,
picking that up.
the Maggie was a big one for you too.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, really cool. Great, some great pickups there, Rye. So you guys recently wrapped up on heading into now the world of Marvel Legends. You guys recently wrapped up a really strong Marvel 85th anniversary program for 2024. Bunch of really cool releases, some that are very near and dear to both Dave and my hearts. Um, what went into that character selection for this special program?
Yeah, so we were coming off of 2 years of these big Marvel led anniversaries with Spider-Man's 60th and then Avengers 60th, which I mean, those are still fairly broad themes, but they are definitive themes for an anniversary for us to tap into. And so when we heard that there wasn't really anything as specific for this year 2024, but it would be Marvel's 85th anniversary coming off of the 80th anniversary in 2019, we just took that as a little bit more freedom, I think, to cast a wider net, which is why we're able to hit on various things from Ghost Rider to a Hulk to a Iron Man, right, to an X-Men, and so that was pretty cool. And yeah, I think we're really happy with how this program came out. All of the items, I think, in their own way, were needed, and yeah, the response has been awesome, and it shows kind of when there's a little wiggle room, we can really get some cool stuff out there. So remains to be seen what the future anniversary type programs are. I feel like once we've gotten through, and we had X-Men's 60th kind of crammed in there too. We had Wolverine's 50th, and so the biggest Marvel character based anniversaries are kind of being checked off. So I don't really know if there's a notable round number or something ending in a 5 coming up. So we'll have to evolve with these programs in the future years, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the next thing that you can start looking into is if there's any anniversaries like for any of the movies, right? Because those are starting to, you know, the 2012 Avengers should have one coming up, like a 15 soon ish, right? Trying to do math in my head, but yeah, like you know, maybe a return to that Infinity
Yeah,
Saga.
because
Wink,
wasn't
wink,
it like
nudge, nudge.
2008 that they
So
started?
yeah, Iron Man was 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this I think to your point, it being such a varied line, like characters from like a little bit of everywhere. I'm gonna. I know Dave probably doesn't have them handy, but the two that I referenced, of course, being Ghost Rider for Dave, the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, and Scar for me. Loving that Hulk love. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this one did have a little bit for kind of for everyone. Even that the Defenders 2-pack, that Iron Fist figure is ridiculous.
Mhm.
So there was something for everyone this time around, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it was definitely really cool. So is there a particular release in the program that you're most proud of, or more specifically, an innovation that you think is going to drive the line forward?
In terms of my favorite character, I would say I really like that Astonishing Wolverine because I read that series when it first came out. I think like my sophomore year in college. I think maybe it was coming out on a monthly basis, and so I have all the first couple of issues there still packed away in some box. So just from a sentimental value, he was the coolest to get. I mean, I think what the team delivered with that Ghost Rider and the little fire kickstand was really cool. I think the details on the Hulkbuster and the articulation for a figure that size was pretty new and innovative for us. And then the Odin, which we talked a little bit about San Diego Comic Con, that Jesse Falcon and Dwight worked really closely on, which I now have in hand and playing around with them a little bit. That really fun, from the swappable hair pieces to that really nice soft goods cape that maybe we continue to do more of. Ever since we did the 12-inch Thor back in, I want to say 2017, that had a really nice, very large, because he was 12 inches tall, soft goods cape, I was always thought, man, couldn't we do capes of that texture and quality? Like, that would be cool if we could do it in 6-inch scale. And we haven't quite really nailed that, but I feel like Odin was the first time.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things where the soft goods cape, it's the amount of extra movement and articulation and kind of like dynamic
Mhm.
range you get out of a figure, that once you bring in soft goods, it does make a huge difference. So that's one I'm really excited to get my hands on, that Odin. And this has been a fun collection for me too, primarily as somebody who typically stays in the lanes of like MCU and animated. um it's just been each of these figures have just been kind of like rule breakers, and have kind of pulled me out of my lowered my guardrails for a little
Yeah.
bit. So
Yeah, I
it's been
think I
fun.
think Odin was the one where um I texted you while it was going on and was like, this Odin is wild.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
of course I popped huge for the Ghost Rider, but I was like, this Odin is unreal good.
Yeah, well, you had two reasons recently to reconsider how you're structuring your
Mhm.
personal Marvel Legends collection, Dave.
Yes. Um Thanks to the little kind of nudging from a bunch of people who may or may not be on this. Um
Well, I mean, he literally put a line to a wave of figures,
yeah,
literally put it together for you. That Strange
for
Tales
me.
wave might as well have just been called the Welcome to Collecting Marvel Legends Dave Weinbrecht wave.
Yeah.
We couldn't
Um
fit that on the package. It was a little too long.
with both of you guys encouraging me a little bit. But yeah, I've gone full like Midnight Suns now, but that's again, it's a small little nook. Um but yeah, that Ghost Rider, like you talked about the Astonishing Wolverine, Ryan, where it was like that's the series you read. So like that Ghost Rider was Danny Ketch was like my grade school introduction to Marvel. Um and the fact that I can get that figure to pose like basically the issue of the first Ghost Rider issue that I bought, which like had me when I first saw the comic, I was like, this is like an unbelievable like what is this guy on the motorcycle with the flaming skull and
Yeah, I tried to have it in that pose ready for today for the. But yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah, Ghost
it's
Rider 1 was.
ridiculous.
I dug
There
this
it
out.
is.
We went on a vacation to start the summer, and we were in Vancouver of all places, and there was this really, forget the name of it, but there was this really cool comic store that had some old issues, and so I think this might have been before. No, we must have already announced it, but yeah, so I picked up this copy of Ghost Rider #1. Thought it,
Yeah, I
and
don't
then
have it on me. I can try to show you real quick on my phone. But like this issue, Ghost Rider 28, was the first
Yep.
one I ever bought. And it's like that figure can do this.
Quite literally can, like down to that
Mhm.
fire, the fire kind of kickstand, holding it in the wheelie position.
Yeah, and when I saw that, like it was like it looks like he's jumping off the cover, but it literally jumped off the cover to me, and I'm like, this is unreal.
Yeah, yeah. I love seeing you get excited about Marvel Legends. Like it makes me happy as somebody who is literally whose desk is surrounded by them.
Mhm.
It makes me very happy to be able to share that excitement with you. Um, but speaking of excitement around the line, you guys revealed. My watch decided to chime in. You guys revealed two very requested characters at San Diego Comic Con in both Rom, the Space Knight, and Dragon Man. With now a little bit of time, since that announcement, is there anything else, any updates you can give us about those two upcoming releases?
So stay tuned for ROM. We are not ready to do details about that figure quite yet. Jesse Falcon was just so excited about the figure, so we revealed it kind of earlier than we might normally have another release based on timing. But I will say it is a new kind of thing. ROM is part of a new kind of thing where that's going to get me in trouble. It's not. Yeah. Yeah. Don't read too much into it. It's just, yeah, well, stay tuned for more details about ROM. But what I'm most excited about is Dragon Man, because we're gonna find more about Dragon Man shortly. As of this recording, we are working to try to get that pre-order up quickly, ideally before PulseCon. So PulseCon is September 13th, Friday. And so hopefully by then we will be up and running with the open pre-order kind of new strategy that we discussed for Dragon Man. And so we'll be going over a little bit in more detail. I had a acrylic printed out to size to again kind of convey how big he is just in a normal standing pose to compare to a normal 6-inch figure. And so I'm really excited for that. I hope it goes well. Again, this is us kind of taking a strategic leap of sorts and trying something new, and I believe we do that often on the Marvel Legends teams. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but either way you learn, and then if it goes well, I think it allows us new avenues to try other types of non-crowdfund type bigger things, right? And so if my assumptions are close to accurate, then yeah, well, there might be more to come later this year.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you guys are exploring kind of different options with Hasbro Pulse. It's a unique platform, right? Like not everyone, has the kind of infrastructure developed to have that direct consumer kind of approach with this stuff. Now there are other stores, other brands have popped up with their kind of versions of their storefronts, but Hasbro Pulse, you guys were kind of one of the first, if not the first, like toy brand to really do that. But it's such a kind of stable environment. Like there's so many things just with a Pulse Premium membership, just that I get kind of throughout the year through that store that it's just easier. It's easier. It's more convenient. Typically, it ships faster than everyone else. Um, it's a great experience. So to see you guys kind of exploring different ways to utilize that platform is I think as a collector, it's fun to see.
Yeah, and HasLab, our first HasLab was the campaign was in 2020 for the Sentinel, and so I think a lot has changed just in the landscape now, where that's not the only playbook that these toy lines can run to get something out there. So we try to pay attention to what other companies are doing, what is working or not working, just in general, and then try to just mix it up a little bit, because I don't think Marvel Legends is on the same trajectory as some of those other brands that came after, maybe, in terms of like, yeah, GI Joe is killing it. They have their fan base, and their line has a lot of great vehicles that make perfect sense for them to, if that's what they're going to do, right? One vehicle every year, that's working great. We don't really have vehicles and our humongous Sentinel Galactus-sized characters. There aren't really any on that same level. We think Giant Man was the next obvious one to do, but no one would argue that he is on, the level of the first two. So we have to evolve and get creative.
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say, you mentioned Giant Man. How are we any closer, or are collectors any closer to getting him in hand?
It should be before, this fall kind of time frame. Yeah, we had some basically final production samples. They might have had some markings on the underside, but at San Diego, so that was pretty much what was in the case, is what fans are going to get shortly.
Awesome.
So we mentioned Giant Man and we mentioned HasLab. This time last year, fans of the line of Marvel Legends were on the cusp of the launch of the Giant Man HasLab. We've got PulseCon coming up later this month, and then New York Comic Con coming next month. Should fans start prepping themselves?
Well, as you guys will get this reference, but you gotta, what is it? Always ready. Always ready? Is that what it says?
Yeah,
Is that what it says? Okay, so Legends fans, you guys got to be always ready for new stuff at any time. So we've got PulseCon coming up in September. There is New York Comic Con in October, and we're trying to do something there. The plan for New York Comic Con, because it's a month later, is less finalized than PulseCon. So I'm actually spending a lot of time on that, and so we hope to have big news at both events. But yeah, just always ready, as Dan Yoon likes to say, right? Set aside some bread.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, get the oven ready. Make some bread, put it aside.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
This message comes from our sponsor, Teladoc Health. There are lots of reasons for wanting to be healthy. Family, work, living a fuller life. Teladoc Health understands. Whether you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or just need to manage your weight, Teladoc Health can help. Visit teladochealth.com/what'syourwhy for more information. That's TELADOC health/what'syourwhy.
And now, back to the show.
Shifting topics a little bit.
Yes.
More than a little bit. For those that maybe are not, like super aware outside of toys and all things Marvel and even Ninja Turtles and whatnot, the three of us all kind of cut our teeth in the punk and pop punk and ska music scene. And
even though I'm wearing a Ghost shirt, I don't know if we're going live.
That's fine. That's fine. It's all relative. But we recently even posted, we were all at the Blink-182 concert in Queens this past summer. So needless to say, we're all big pop punk and punk fans and whatnot. And as summer is winding down here, the unofficial end of summer has already happened with Labor Day. But it's also draft season. So 2 years ago, we did a draft episode of Adventures in Collecting, and we drafted toy lines from the 90s with our friends Toy Shiz and MCU Collector 24. This year, we have something a little different planned. So if you saw on Instagram, on social media at AIC_podcast, we posted that we were doing this Warp Tour, Adventures in Collecting Warp Tour main stage draft, and that's what we're about to do here. So we're swinging all of this live here. There's not going to be any edits, so you're going to get all the bumps and craggles here. So what we're going to do is we have a roster of bands across.
Are we doing this Gethard style like the original?
I don't remember what that means.
Didn't the Chris Gethard mall food court draft?
Oh yes, that's what actually did inspire this, like 2 years ago. Comedian, fellow podcaster Chris Gethard,
Fellow New Jerseyan,
did a fantasy draft for a mall food court, which was very funny. But what we have here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. And I'll just run through them really quickly so that everyone is familiar with kind of the bands that we've got here. But we have a mainstream category that has Blink-182, Green Day, Weezer, Katy Perry, Linkin Park, and No Doubt in it. We have a punk category with NoFX, Rancid, Pennywise, Dropkick Murphys, Bad Religion, and Alkaline Trio. We have a pop punk category that has MXPX, Sum 41, Paramore, Good Charlotte, Newfound Glory, and Simple Plan. We have a ska category with Less Than Jake, Real Big Fish, Mighty Mighty Boss Tone, Streetlight Manifesto, Goldfinger, and the Aquabats. We have an emo category with Taking Back Sunday, Saves the Day, Thursday, The Used, Census Fail, and Hawthorne Heights. And lastly, a wild card category with NERD, Andrew WK, The Insane Clown Posse, CKY, Transplants, and Sublime. So the way that this is going to work is all of the bands, with the exception of the bands that were in the mainstream and wildcard categories, had to have played the Warped Tour for at least 2 years in order to qualify. The wildcard category being wildcard, and the mainstream being sort of a second wildcard, are rule breakers to that. But we'll get into that in a second. So what we will do is we will set a random draft order here momentarily. And it'll be a snake draft. So snake draft style, once a band is selected, that's it. They're off the table. No one else can have them. Our contestants here, the three of us, will have to pick a band from each category. So if you choose to pick from each category, you get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bands, right? So you get 5 bands. If you choose one of the bands from the mainstream category, you will only get 4 bands total. So you will have to drop 2 of the categories. So just throwing it out there, hypothetical situation. I get the first pick. I decide that I'm going to take Blink-182.
Katy Perry.
I decide that I'm going to take Katy Perry. I would have to forfeit 2 of the categories. So I would have to drop, say, emo and wildcard, and I could only pick from the bands in those other categories. So the other part of this is you have to say which slot the band is going into. You're booking a main stage, so you have to say who's going to be your opener, who's going to be your closer. You're picking them in the order. You're setting them in an order, so you don't have to pick your opener first. You can pick your closing band first, but you do have to identify where they are in your roster. And then the last piece of this is, once we are done here, we will post this on social media, and you, our listeners and followers, and Ryan's followers, will have to vote and determine who has the best main stage at the Warp Tour.
Can I ask, because I think I might have misread this, if you don't pick a mainstream, you're picking 5, one of each, or you're picking 6 and you're doubling up on one category?
You're picking 5.
5. Okay.
5.
So it's either 5 or 4. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's either 5 or 4. Yep.
So it's either one of each or mainstream and 3.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
And of course, you're getting the bands,
in their heyday. Yeah, like so if you pick if you were to pick Sublime, you get the original lineup of Sublime, not as they
Yeah.
are today. Same
But
goes
if you
for
get Blink
for Ace of
182, you're
Base.
getting Blink 182 of today or Green Day of today, because that's
Yes. Yeah, you're getting them in their if you
the height
close
of their
your,
powers.
yes, there you go.
I was
The
going
height
to
of
say,
their
are we
powers.
getting the original? Are we getting Scott back in the band?
if you would like to specify that you only want like Dude Ranch
Okay.
era Blink-182, you
Oh,
can absolutely burn your pick on that.
No, Travis all the way.
All right. So with that, I have a randomizer here, and I have our three names. I don't know. There we go. We can
Yep,
see.
there you go.
All right. So I'm gonna hit generate draft order here. And it's gonna freeze. There we go. All right.
It's like too many things. 3.
There we go. So
Oh,
our draft
wow.
order is
Oh, wow.
first pick goes to me, second pick goes to Ryan, third pick goes to Dave. So snake draft rules, that means Dave is going to get picks
The
3
worst case
and
scenario
4.
happened for me.
All right. So that leaves first pick to me. So now I have a decision to make.
Five bands it is.
I've got the power here.
Unless something really wild happens with these next two picks.
So here's the conundrum, right? Like we all love Blink-182. How much do our followers like? Do they love Blink-182? Do they love Green
I
Day?
don't know. The stadiums look pretty full.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unparalleled. Wade loves Blink 182, so he would vote for.
You know what? I am going to go with a mainstream band for my first pick, and I think I'm gonna take Blink-182, guys.
I was gonna say
Shocker.
So I was telling my fiance, like, if anybody does anything other than that, I don't understand.
And I will signify right now as I'm taking them, they are my closing act. So they are my closer.
Do you have to specify the order? Can you do that at the end?
Yeah, you could do that at the end
Oh,
if you
okay.
want. I'm just
Okay.
I think that's a
specifying
pretty
it now
safe headliner, though.
because I'm not sure who else would who they could potentially open for on this list. All right, so with that, I have now said I'm sacrificing 2 of the categories. I will only have 4 bands. Ryan, you are up next.
All right. I respect that. I respect that choice. I wish you went a different way, but that's okay.
I think all of us do.
I'm gonna go just because. Yeah, I want to secure them early. I'm gonna go Less Than Jake, my number 1 pick in the first round.
All right.
I think they've played probably like maybe the record. Were we talking about this? That they've played like amongst the most times or something of like any band?
They are. As far as I can tell, when I was putting this together, they have played on 15 Warped Tours. So above and beyond the most played. I think Simple Plan was the one behind them with like 12. So yeah.
I'm gonna go Vinny with the Vinny drummer though lineup, original lineup.
A rich OG lineup. All right, Dave, you are up with the next 2 picks.
So I didn't think that was gonna happen.
What, you didn't think Ryan was going to take Less Than Jake, or you didn't think I was going to take Blink-182?
No, I didn't think Ryan was gonna take Less Than Jake that early, because they would have made it back to him.
Or would they?
Yes, he would go after me. They would have. So now I'm gonna go with my original plan if I was number 2, which was to take No Doubt and make them my headliner.
Oh, okay. All right, so that's your first pick. You get your second pick right behind this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start the day very energetically and that is going to be with even though we just swept Boston, we'll do it for Boston. The Dropkick Murphys are going to start the day.
Opening band, Dropkick Murphys. All right. So then, how does this work? This goes back to me now?
No, it goes to
I'm in the
Ryan.
Or goes
middle.
to Ryan? Okay, goes the other way. Okay, yeah. All right.
All right. This is going to be a little bit of category management on my behalf. Yeah, just because I need to lock this category up early, or else I'm not going to know what I'm doing later on. So, in the wild card category, I'm going to go Sublime, and not because I'm the biggest Sublime fan, although that one record that we all had was amazing. My first AOL screen name had Santeria in it, just because I was listening to that song a lot at the time, and that continues to be part of my various like whatever logins for Yahoo Fantasy Sports and other things has that in it.
Nice.
So I'm gonna go Sublime and check off the wild card category.
All right. So then it comes to me for my second and third picks, right?
Correct.
All
You
right.
get 2 here.
So, sheesh. All right. Well, you can't have a Warped Tour without a punk band, as far as I'm concerned. So I am going to take Rancid as my number 2 pick. And they're going to be they're going to be my third band. So they're going to open up for Blink-182.
Playing right before Blink.
Yep.
Okay.
And then my next band, I'm gonna bring some high energy to my opening band for the day, and I'm gonna take Paramore as
I did not see that.
my opening band.
I did not see that.
Okay, so
I had you taking someone else from there.
I was between two. The one that you're thinking was probably the I made a gut decision at the last
Okay.
second there. Wanted a female voice in my lineup, and
Okay.
and they were still on the table. So, all right. So then this now goes back to
Ryan.
So for my third round pick, I'm gonna go with my guys, the pop punk category. I'm going Newfound Glory. Pop punk stalwarts in and of themselves. I've seen them so many times. I got to meet them. Most of them, Jordan didn't come out, but I got to meet Cyrus, Ian, Chad at a show a couple of years ago, and they were all super nice guys. Obviously, they've been around forever, continue to put out cool music. I'm pretty sure they're also collectors and kind of geeks, right? Like they play Magic the Gathering and they collect stuff, and so that's kind of an added bonus for our little session here. They are my third round.
So I have, before we move on, they were going to be I was between them and Paramore. So first of all,
100%.
Yeah, I was between those two. I will share a really cool, really quick Newfound Glory story. So I was in a band called And Then There Were Machines. Back in like 2000, was that like 2008, 2009 maybe?
Thereabouts.
And we played at Bamboozle Festival at Giant Stadium. We got to play at that 2 years, and one of the years was the year that Newfound Glory was playing double duty. So they did a set early in the day as the International Superheroes of Hardcore, and then later on they did a set as Newfound Glory. So because we had like the stage passes and like we were talent, we got to watch some of the shows from the side of the stage. So I watched International Superheroes of Hardcore from the side of the stage. They didn't have as big of a crowd as like Newfound Glory did. It was still at the point where like a lot of people knew it was them, but you sort of kind of had to also be in the know because they wore like the ski masks and everything. And I had my demo for And Then There Were Machines. And afterwards I approached them. I approached Cyrus, actually, kind of drummer to drummer. And I was like, hey, would you be willing to take my demo? Big fan of you guys. Have listened to you my whole life. He was like, sure. You want to listen to it now? And I was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah, well, let's go listen to it right now. So we walked off stage. He put the CD in. He sat there. He listened to it, and he was like, "Do you want me to be like? Do you want me just to be like, yeah, good job, and like get you out of here, or do you want like notes?" And I was like, "I will totally take notes." And he literally we went through the track. He told me what was good about it. He told me what was bad about the mix. He told me, what we could improve on. He asked like a bunch of questions about how we recorded, what setup it was, and literally spent, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes with me going over the song, and then was like, seriously, overall really good song. There's a lot to work with there, but you guys still have some kinks to work out. Hopefully you can take this and run with it. And it was it was like a surreal moment just sitting there with him. He put it in like a little like stereo thing, played it, and it was just that's something that will always forever stick with me. And it was one of those things where it was such a natural like conversation that I never thought for like, hey, can I get an autograph? Like never asked. Like we were just sitting there talking like musician to musician. And then that was it. And I was gone. And I walked out of there and I couldn't believe that it happened. And to this day, I still like, I'm like, what? It's really strange that just kind of worked out that way. But that's my newfound glory story.
That's so cool.
That's really cool. I had never even heard that before.
Yeah, no, I've definitely told you about this.
Okay.
Definitely have. But yeah, really, really nice guy. Super cool. And he gave me 15 minutes of his very busy day in the parking lot of Giant Stadium. So very, very cool. So that then takes us back to you, Dave, right?
Yeah, and I have a decision to make, but I think you guys made it for me. So it's really just a question of what am I going to do here? How do I potentially ruin your next picks? But
Oh, you get your final two here. This is it for you.
I know. No, I'm gonna go with what I was thinking of as I was watching this unfold. So, doesn't matter the order, but my next pick, even though we've got a little bit of ska vibe and some old No Doubt, I think we still need it. But I don't want to be too East Coast, and I'm like teasing it, and I'm not sure, but I definitely don't want to be too East Coast here. I don't want to. I don't want to have too much, especially since my last pick is definitely going to be. So the band that is going to play right before No Doubt, band that's going to play right before No Doubt is going to be Real Big Fish.
Okay. Sellout. What a sellout. All right, so that is your third. And who is your second performing band on your stage, Dave? You've got let's reminding people Dave has so far selected. You've got as your opener the Dropkick Murphys.
Mm-hmm.
You've now got a blank spot where this band will go, followed by Real Big Fish with No Doubt as your closer.
Yeah, I may switch the second and third spot. Still, I have some time to think about that. I think
You do,
but
you do.
the last one is going to be very New Jersey. It's a very New Jersey pick. It was there, hands down. I mean, like, Wayne Firehouse royalty. Dare I say, certainly New Brunswick, but we're gonna go with Saves the Day.
I knew it. I knew it. If there was one band you were not missing, I knew it was going to be that one. And I also knew that they were going to be on the table literally the entire time.
Yeah, and once. Well, I'll talk about where my thought process was with that later, but I kind of had an idea pop punk was going to shake out the way it was. Just maybe not in that order.
All right, so that brings us back to Ryan. Ryan, you have so far you will be the only one taking a fifth band. So you get right now you have Sublime, you have Less Than Jake, and you have Newfound Glory. Who is your next pick?
Yeah, and I hope the fans factor in. So my stage will have one more band for your viewing pleasure than either of these other two competitors.
It's very
so more
very
value
true.
for your hard-earned ticket to this imaginary fantasy concert. So with that, I am going to go emo, and I'm going Taking Back Sunday.
Oh, damn it.
Is he the only singer who does that with the move with the mic on the cord and then he swings it and wraps it around his neck? I always thought that was
That's like his thing. It's definitely his. I don't think he's the only one that does it at this point, but like that's definitely his
I
thing.
think that's an old like Robert Plant thing though, because Paul Stanley does it too.
Yeah,
Or
it's
did
true.
it?
But in terms of like the emo bands, like that's like
Yeah,
his like signature.
that's his. Yeah,
That's his signature thing. All right. So this then takes me to my last band. So again, as a reminder, I currently have Paramore opening. I have Rancid playing third, and I have Blink-182 playing last. So man, this is now really hard because Ryan took the band I was going to take, and Dave took my backup.
I knew that.
Crud. Okay.
There's an easy U one still on there.
There is, but it's not about me. I'm trying to put the best concert together for the people, Dave. This is for the people. This isn't
It's
for
funny.
me.
We all are doing that, but we all pick bands that we all like.
The way that I'm looking at it is I have two. I could either go weird for my last choice and just like double down and be like, you're getting 3 bands and then like one bonkers band. That's one choice. Second choice is I already have Blink-182. Is Travis going to work double duty at this show? And I already have Rancid. So is Tim Armstrong going to work double duty? Are we doing a little little crossover action here? Or jeez.
only one band has been WCW Tag Team Champion.
Yeah.
I think you have to do it.
We were just talking about it came up in conversation the other day. It's wild that the Insane Clown Posse are not in the WWE Hall of Fame yet, but Drew Carey is. Um Geez. All right, I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off here. We are going with man, this is really hard. I have a really hard decision to make. All right, I'm taking Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
I was gonna say, how do you not? You have Rancid
Yeah,
next, and the crossover is
yeah. I'm gonna go some New England ska, and I am going to take Mighty Mighty Boss Tones as my final pick. They will be my second band performing. And
Thank
that
you
is
guys
it.
for representing Boston so well, taking Boss Tones and the Dropkick Murphys. I didn't either of them. I'm glad I did that because so if I didn't take Taking Back Sunday there, you would have, and then I would have not gotten them for my last pick. So good drafting by me. For my fifth pick, I'm gonna go in the punk category, and I'm gonna go again. My list is more like my Spotify like daily mix. It's I don't know if the fans are gonna agree, but this is what I would just want to listen to.
Yeah, we did not do that at all.
I'm gonna go Alkaline Trio.
There we go.
For my pick. So I still have to I'm gonna rejiggering my lineup for the stage here. I'm gonna
All right. So while you're doing that, while you're figuring out your lineup here, we'll recap one last time here. So Dave's we'll start with Dave here. Dave's opener would be the Dropkick Murphys, followed by Saves the Day, followed by Real Big Fish, and no doubt
I'm gonna switch that. I want.
Last Call.
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, I want the Cooler to be third.
Okay. So you want saves the day in your third spot.
That's too much. That's, if like we're opening with spider webs, and that's too much coming off a real big fish.
Okay. So all right. So you got
which I think they have a tendency to do is open with spider webs. So
fair, very fair. All right. So that brings it to me. My picks are, let's see, where do we got? My opener is Paramore, followed by the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, followed by Rancid with Blink-182 as your closer. So I'm gonna lock mine in there. And Ryan, do you want to lock in your order here?
Yeah, my order is gonna go Sublime to start it off, kind of mellow to some degree, and kind of easing into the day. And then we're gonna go. So I tried to stagger the tones too, a little like tonal shifts. So Sublime first, Taking Back Sunday second, Less Than Jake's gonna get on in the middle. Then we're gonna go Alkaline Trio, kind of downshift a little bit in the super energy kind of category, and then we're gonna close with Newfound Glory as their, for me, they're one of the Warped Tour American status type.
There we go. Locked in. So we'll get these tour posters posted up on Monday when the episode goes live, and everyone can do two things. One, you will vote on whose stage you think is the best, and we'll post a blank poster as well, so that way we can see all of your wonderful picks. Very excited to see how you guys shake out some of your lineups here, and we've seen a couple already when we announced a couple people posted there, so very, very cool. That was a lot of fun. I am very curious to see who takes the W here, who takes the bragging rights W.
Can I give you my multiverse alternate universe lineup though?
Yes.
Because I thought about this.
Pick.
No, so these are bands that were not on the eligible list of selection.
Okay.
But they all played in, I believe, at least one. I don't know if I used the 2 or 3 criteria. But so my alternate not possible lineup would be Fall Out Boy for mainstream, Lawrence Arms for punk, Midtown for pop punk, and Spring Heel Jack for ska. So that was my
wow.
Bands are not on here that I would pick.
When I was putting the list together, I saw when Spring Heel Jack, when I was scrolling through, I was like,
I was gonna say, how I feel about songs about suburbia.
Yeah. That's. I would go see that stage. I would park in front of that stage. I'd watch all those bands. So speaking of,
I missed what I missed out on by trying to block Real Big Fish from you, but not even block Real Big Fish from you. I just didn't want it to be all East Coast bands that I had.
I thought for sure you were taking Goldfinger.
No, I was thinking about, do I want Shipping Up to Boston to be the crossover song, and then it's just like one big set. But I decided against it because I knew I was going to take Saves the Day third, like as my last band, and that's just so Northeast. Like nobody's going to want to watch all that.
Yeah. I couldn't take. I kind of figured
because you've got that Boss Tones to Rancid crossover now, where it's like they can kind of a band that's kind of secretly a ska band.
I knew there was no way that I was getting Less Than Jake and Blink-182, so I had to part with one of them. That was I have stiff competition in that in both of those categories. So yeah, I went with the Blink decision. So my original,
but ultimately Ryan could have gone, like, I know Less Than Jake wasn't going to get back to you, but it would have you could have taken them first or second for sure.
Hey y'all, Darius Rucker here. A lot of people ask me, what inspires your music? And one of the big things is a strong sense of place. That's why I love my home state of South Carolina and want to share the awesome things it has to offer. From the beautiful mountains down to the sunny coast, it's got it all. Not to mention 2 of my personal favorites, great golf and amazing food. Come see why I love this place. Visit discoversouthcarolina.com.
Yeah. Well, Speaking of fan interaction and fan and follower engagement here, now that we're through with the draft, let's shift gears back to Marvel Legends for a little bit. We know
Yeah.
how important it is for us to get questions from followers, from fellow Marvel Legends fans. When we have Ryan on, so we have done absolutely that. Dave, remind our listeners, how can they submit questions for future episodes of Adventures in Collecting?
So remember that story you saw where it was, pick your own Warp Tour bands, your own Warp Tour itinerary, and you answered on our Instagram story? Well, if you follow at AIC_podcast, you would have also seen a story that said Ryan's coming on, and there's a Q&A portion, which, based off of the list of questions, everybody definitely saw that. So I need this every week.
It's true.
So next guest, please submit your questions when you see the story with the little box that you can tap in and type a question. Do type a question, and you get to hear me struggle through your screen name. So there's also that. So make sure to follow along, and also follow on YouTube and X and Threads and Facebook. YouTube, there's video stuff there. It's cool. You even can watch some of these episodes. You might even be able to see me do this in person. So
it's a new
go.
thing. New thing.
More
well
reasons
done,
to watch, and then you can leave comments and tell us what you like, tell us what you want more of, and all that good engagement stuff.
Perfect. So you brought up a valid point. Ryan, how does it feel to be the guest with the most submitted questions for? Because congratulations.
Oh, wow.
I stopped counting.
Yeah,
at
this
one
is
point,
like a new record.
but new record. So you are officially the guest with the most questions for them.
I will proudly hold that title till it is earned by someone else.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I celebrated by opening a new water.
There you go. I will let you know if and when somebody ever beats you. So let's get.
Then I get a rematch immediately.
Yes. Immediately. We'll
that's how this
rebook
works.
Both of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you and your competitor, and you'll have to duke it out. So
like a
inevitably,
battle of the bands, but for Q&A.
No matter how many times we do this, and no matter how many times we set the stage of asking when a character is coming is likely not going to get an answer, we still get tons of questions that are like, when is this character coming? So instead of ignoring those questions, because that would be mean, what we've done is we've put a fire round
Rapid
of
fire
requests together. So you don't have to respond to these at all. This is just for your knowledge. This is what's floating out there in the ether. These are some of the things that people would like to see. So I'm just going to run through them here. Rachel Summers, Captain Kate. I swear to God, this one was not me. Ang Lee Hulk. Somebody wants that. More 20th century X-Men. 2000s Fantastic Four. Completing the comic Eternals. No Way Home, Lizard and Electro. Stegron. Regent. And of course, the Gibbon.
So that, just listing off characters and not even asking questions, that's known as the Boog Nice maneuver. So nice to see that you've adopted that. And then Regent, was there anyone besides MCU Collector who put that on? I wonder.
It was in fact MCU Collector.
Yes, Bryant called you out. Well, because this is your 5th anniversary show or week, what have you, I will say that at least one of those characters is definitely under consideration for sometime in the future.
And will they come with 3 Hulk dogs?
That's all I can say. Can say no more.
Seriously though, the Ang Lee Hulk one was not me. If I was going to put
That's
I couldn't believe it. I who I did not put all the names. I only know the Regent because that's MCU collector's thing.
and the Gibbon.
Well, I'm obviously Craig with the Gibbon. But yeah, when I saw the Ang Lee, I was like, "Be still, my heart," but no, thank you. I don't need that.
That's so weird.
Wasn't there a Ang Lee Hulk? No, that was not the Ang Lee. Sorry, that was the Ed Norton
Yeah,
Hulk.
yeah.
Yeah,
There.
they were toys.
Yep.
Mhm.
No, the one that I would love is a 2-pack like the Hulk one that you guys did for the 65th anniversary, but make it based on the Hulk TV show, like the not Bruce Banner. What was his name?
David Banner.
David Banner. Yeah, a David Banner and
So you want Ferrigno and Bill Bixby?
Yeah, Lou Ferrigno Hulk. That would be amazing. There's an amazing
let's get two different talents.
Yep.
In one pack.
Yep, totally reasonable. Totally. Also,
2000's Fantastic Four is interesting.
well, I think that's also getting some more love after the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. I think a lot of people are like,
oh, that's what I was guessing. Like the movie.
Yeah. Not like those two movies, like the Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, Fantastic
The Fox Fantastic Four. Okay.
All right, so Dave, do you want to do our first real question here?
Yes. Okay, at Just J Hernandez, go see him act soon. Asks, which is your favorite series? Marvel Impel 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah, Jay Hernandez is awesome. Really, really fun videos. Great guy.
Yep.
So thanks for the question, Jay. I would say Marvel Series 2 because that was the first one that had the power ratings on the back, which was helpful as a young kid trying to learn about the characters. I just really like the border on that card set. The third set, I think the power ratings were more fun because it had fighting, and that's all I was interested in was fighting ability, like in the X-Men Series 1. But the third series, the designs were a little funky with like the geometric shapes like on the front. There was no real like backgrounds as much. So I'm gonna have to go Marvel Universe Series 2.
Wasn't Series 2 also what the Death's Head packaging was?
Yeah. Yep. We just did that. Fans seem to like it at San Diego, and hopefully we can do more stuff inspired by the trading card.
I liked the win-loss records on the back of Series 1.
I did until I read a couple years ago that one of the editors was like, "Yeah, we just made that up. Like we didn't research that at all."
It still was like a fun like, and I think Aunt May had like baking pies as her like superpower.
That's funny.
It had a Stan Lee card, Series 1. That was pretty cool.
I think I had all the holograms too.
Really? You still have
Series
some
2 was
impels?
definitely. Oh, I absolutely have those.
Oh, no kidding.
Series 2 was the one I had the least of, I think. And 3 I had. With like, didn't it have like space? Like it was outer space as the background?
Series 3?
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think Series 2 had the best holograms because the Series 1 holograms were stickers that were stuck on a
blank
white card, and they were like always crooked and off center. And then Series 2 had these classic silver holograms that were in the same card frame. And then Series 3 had different color holograms, which kind of got confusing. There was like
red and blue,
orange one for Thing and like a blue one for Wolverine.
Oh, Ghost Rider was red. That's what I remember.
So which that was kind of weird to have them all be different colors. And then X-Men had the gold holograms, which were fine, but I don't know. I like the cleanliness of like silver perfect hologram.
Those X-Men cards were great too. You had the Danger Room cards that were like a 2-in-1. Or like two cards made one image.
Yep.
Man, I abused all of my my Marvel trading cards back in the day. Like full, like
Mine are somewhere in the house.
I used to draw on them and stuff. It's terrible. In
But we used
retrospect.
to do it to Series 3 because, like, back in the day, you could get, like, boxes of cards at Costco. So my friends and I would take the Series 3 cards and take 3 of them and make, like, with little pieces of foam, make 3D,
Oh, I remember
like,
that where you
cards.
used to
So,
cut them out and and paste
yeah.
them on. I remember those. Oh my god, I haven't thought about those in so long.
So, like, for Venom, we would take, like, his hand and make it the top level, and then the body was the second level, and then the background was the first level, and put it in a big card case. I'll see if I still have any of them anywhere. I don't know where they'd be, but I could try to find one.
I remember you and Dee Dee making those.
Yep,
The
my
little
friend
exact
Dave and another Dave.
with the
We would,
X-Acto
yep,
knives and stuff.
X-Acto knife, Band-Aids on our fingers, like, yeah.
Bleeding all over the merchandise. All right, our next question comes from I'm Garrett Finley, and Garrett asks, Spider-Man centric waves have been on retro cards since 2021 with no Build-A-Figure. With Build-A-Figure sized characters from that universe yet to be made, can you provide any insight on this change?
So it's no secret that the number of Build-A-Figures per year has come down in recent years as we've got a lot of other things going on. We're still able to get those larger characters out in deluxe style single one-shot type pickups, which I think has opened up a lot of doors for us. If the question is specifically around Spider-Man Build-A-Figure waves, yeah, it's like that could potentially come back at some point. But I think fans have been appreciating the retro carded style waves, and we've done so many of them now that it's almost its own kind of collection. So that's just what we've been leaning into. And then the No Way Home wave ended up on a blister card, although in its own movie style packaging for other kinds of reasons. But yeah, maybe one day we will see the return of a Spider-Man themed Build-A-Figure, and then just on Build-A-Figure in general, you will still get a couple every year, I think.
All right. At Legends Collector 1321 asks, what is your all-time favorite Blink 182 song?
Yeah, that's rough, and we could have talk about that for many hours. I think the merits of it, but I'll just have to go for me. It has to be "Damn It" because that's what caught my ear initially. It's still their last song that they play at every show, right? It was the first thing I learned to play on guitar. Not that I'm ever evolved very far in guitar, but yeah, for all those types of reasons. Great music video, right? Like an all-timer music video, and yeah, it's just the best for me.
Dave, I think we should probably answer that one too.
Yeah, I was thinking we probably were going to.
Mine is a weird one. It's
Okay.
I don't even have to think about it. It's off of the self-titled album. So and it's Asthenia.
I really love that song too.
So not by no means is it's definitely a deep cut. But there's just something about that song. I love like it was pre Angels and Airwaves, and Tom was starting to get into kind of like sort of that U2-y type experimental guitar stuff. But I just love the drums in that song. I love the hook. I love the whole mix of it. I love like the weird like outer spacey stuff in the beginning. Yeah, Asthenia.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, actually, I do have one that I can think of off the top of my head, and mine is a little bit of a weird one too. Just because I thought this was so like not them that I loved it in a way. And we actually had the opportunity to see it live, you and I. I don't know if you saw them on this tour either, Ryan, but when they did the Greatest Hits tour, and we're doing amphitheaters with, I think that was the No Doubt tour, or was that the Green Day tour, Eric?
I don't remember. No doubt. No
When
doubt.
I say the
Greatest
song,
Hits.
you'll remember.
Greatest Hits was No Doubt. Greatest Hits was No Doubt.
Then this might have been Green Day, which was Take Off Your Pants. No, yeah, it would have been Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Yes, it would have been. And here's why. It's What Went Wrong, which was one of the secret songs.
Yeah.
On
Yeah, the acoustic one.
Oh, was it the Yellow CD?
Oh boy.
It was either yellow or red.
You're asking me to access a part of my brain that I have not
I don't
accessed in a while.
remember.
Yeah, but that was
I could.
it was one of the 3 CDs, yeah, so
Mhm.
bonus track.
I think I had green, and it wasn't the one I had. I think it was the one you had. So, um, but what went wrong was such like a non Blink 182 song that it was like one of those ones I always wanted to hear it with the full band, but it was kind of too perfect to not to be changed in any way.
Yeah,
And we saw them do it live, which was also cool.
we did. We definitely did.
Those are
Yeah, it
like
had to have,
cool. Those are cool. Like
it had to have been the Green Day tour.
Your pick is but it's classic. It's classic.
Yeah.
classic. There's the way they Mark mixes up the bridge like every time when they sing it
Mm-hmm.
live. He has a
Yep.
couple go tos and he keeps adding often. That's fun.
Yeah, I used to like like I don't know if he still does it, but when he used to do the like I wish I was a little bit taller, I wish I was
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning in the middle of it. That was always fun. All right. Next one comes from Hefe the Hefe. I'm gonna go with a soft J on that. I don't think it's Jeffy the Hefe. I'm going Hefe the Hefe. I'm sorry if I got it wrong.
Okay.
With the next Captain America film hitting in February, very excited for Red Hulk. When can we expect to see what Marvel Legends has in store for fans?
I mean, they just recently released the official trailer, I believe, right?
Yep.
So between now and February, I don't. This was a tough one. Like the movie date moved around a bit. It was originally supposed to be a 2024 film, and then it
Yeah.
moved out to February. So we'll certainly have some Marvel Legends figures for that. But increasingly, like with films, and we saw this with Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, we'll have some product the year it comes out, but the production timelines haven't changed, and but the movie kind of dates have gotten a little harder to pin down. And so I think what we've found is we really want to nail a couple of characters from each film well, and then if and when the movie comes out and there's other things to do, other things fans want, we can always go back. Like we've done it for No Way Home, and there's still some characters on people's No Way Homes wish list, right? And so it'll be more of like a gradual rollout, I think, from that film. So yeah, so just keep that in mind, right? Like the MCU is every time there's a new movie added to it, the sandbox just gets bigger, and we can go back if fans want it.
Yeah. I mean,
Not to mention, who would want like a spoiler figure? You know, like
thanks, McDonald's. Nothing like pulling into the
right?
drive-thru
Like
for some French fries and see a little plush Red Hulk dangling there. Yeah, and, I have to say the one thing, like again, as somebody who I love the MCU stuff, it's what got me back into Legends and everything. Um, Part of me is like I want it now because like I see the trailer and I'm hyped for it, and like I want as somebody who likes to shoot them too, like I know I'm gonna want to see the movie and then come home and like try to recreate stuff and um, all that's great. But I love when we do have to wait because like we all know how this works. Like storyboards and production art and early access stuff. I mean, we saw it with earlier, Infinity Saga figures. They're not always accurate because like that stuff changes. It's very nebulous. Like especially with like
mhm.
reshoots and CGI and all that kind of stuff. Like it changes. So part of it is like I'd almost just at this point like adjust my brain and wait and get something that's like actually accurate to what's on screen, especially too knowing like the life cycle of like toy production and everything. Um, yeah. So it's just curious, like we're all of the same age. Like we remember like 2 months before a movie would come out, you know, the toy aisle would be flooded with toys from that movie to get kind of like hyped and get you like into it. Um, so yeah, I'm excited though. I'm excited to see what you guys have in store for it.
Not to mention that like year wait, like it makes you fall in love all over again.
Yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, I love this movie. I'm gonna go watch it and then get this figure.
yeah, it's true. There's definitely an element of that. Dave, do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, I do. At Ernie Vigo. Erne Vigo?
It's Vigo. That's all I can think
Asks,
of. Sorry.
have you considered doing more powered/depowered 2-packs like you did with Banner and Hulk? And who is at the top of your personal want list for that style? That
So
style of
I
figure.
think this was two questions. So one was the question because this
Oh,
person asked two questions and I combined them to one bullet. One
gotcha.
was one question about the 2-packs. One was just your personal, like, if you could snap your fingers sort of thing and make a figure happen, who would it be?
Yeah, so on the 2-pack question, yeah, I think we could consider. I don't know, like, what are there a lot of characters who change forms like the way Banner does into Hulk? Because there's a lot, or is there like civilian versus superhero costume look, right?
Yeah.
Or like Tony Stark or Iron Man, like those are possibilities too. Um, I don't know. I think we try to use 2-packs more to do team based stuff or do like versus packs, right? Like, for example, we finished that Fantastic Four team with Wolverine and Spider Man this year, and then we had Franklin and Val in a 2-pack the year before. So like that's a way where we can, and we like Squadron Supreme. We did
Mhm.
4 of the 5 Squadron Supreme in 2-packs, and then Power Princess separately. So those seem to be, I think, more likely, or like versus packs, like all of the Wolverine 50th anniversary, or like Punisher versus Bushwhacker. So yeah, maybe we'll see some of those. Let us know if you have any specific suggestions for in that avenue. And then yeah, I get that question a lot of like, what character would you want to most make? And I guess I don't really have a good answer. There's been a lot of I've worked on the brand for so long that a lot of the characters I've wanted to do, we've been fortunate to have the chance to do them. So I don't know, man. I'm a big mark for the '90s X-Men stuff, from the video games to the trading cards and stuff. So anyone who we like haven't gotten to yet from that realm, who hasn't had any Legends figure yet. So that list is not very large anymore at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just remember I loved the Cerise card from Excalibur and X-Men, uh, the first X-Men set. So that's just one that I always remember. But all the others, we've done versions of them already. And I always joke that in that set, Roma, who was on the Allies card, is like has like unlimited power ratings for everything. So I consider her the most powerful Marvel character of them all, according to that card set. So maybe we'll get a Roma at some point.
Yeah, you mentioned, you called out the video game stuff, the Sentinels, those two arcade Sentinels, that 2-pack is ridiculous. So like I love that you guys are starting to play, in that area, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's so much fun, and like seeing that those figures. I can't wait for that new brown and tan Wolverine that's coming, that you guys showed off at San Diego Comic-Con too. That way I can recreate a little video game setup. Have him and Colossus pounding on some Sentinels.
And those just certain games getting re-released in about 2 weeks. So
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, a certain Marvel versus something else video game that had a very 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 good cable figure that may or may not still be on the top 10 list for 2024. Um, our final question from our Q&A here comes from friend of the pod, friend of the community. What a guy, Toy Farce. And he asks, does the quote hashtag rule of 4 still apply when brands release turtles one at a time? Does it just become a long-term commitment?
Yeah, Toy Farce is really funny and makes me laugh constantly. So we appreciate Toy Farce. Um, I would say the rule of 4 started for me more as an in-store or like in person at a convention type deal, where if all 4 of them were together in a new line, I felt compelled to get them. But if it was any number that was not 4, it was much easier for me to say pass. So it's a good question. Um, Sometimes not, like what Mondo did with their new kind of soft vinyl Ninja Turtles. They didn't release all of them at the same time, but I still was in every time. Like, I'm pre-ordering 2 at a time every couple of months. Like, what am I doing here? This is so not the rule of 4, but so it kind of depends. Like, those are so cool looking and so unique that, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But for other type of stuff, I probably wouldn't. It needs to be more of a, they're all released at the same time. And then maybe this is why I also too didn't get into the He-Man crossover ones. I'm also not the biggest He-Man collector, but those also weren't all released at the same time, right? The 4 Turtles, so it was easier for me to sit on the bench for that one.
Oh man, your
But
rule
did you get Xavier Woods and Kofi?
That one, we could talk about that. I think that's a really fun crossover, but everyone probably has their preferred list of wrestlers to turtle mashups, so I kind of passed on those. But maybe if I listened to your guys' pod with Magic and Steve, and yeah, they were like, maybe we'll do more in the future. So maybe I'll get in at some point if they come back. I don't know. I'm also not like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest like New Day fan, and so there's like 2 of them. Aren't they like they're 2? They're
They're-
half of it.
Well, they're 2 now, so it doesn't look
Yeah.
like Big E is ever going to wrestle again. It appears.
No, I mean in the 4
In
turtles.
the wave.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
there's
yes.
Kofi
Yeah.
and there's Woods.
And Xavier
So,
Woods.
like,
Kofi is Michelangelo. Xavier is Donatello, and then in Wave 2 you get Seth Rollins as Leonardo and Rey Mysterio as Raphael.
yeah. So I'm not like they're great, but like I was like 50% New Day. I was like, okay, like cool. Like I'm sure there are reasons, right? But yeah, we will see. Turtles can never get enough turtles, so everyone keep making more, and I'll probably get most of them if all 4 are available at the.
Your rule of 4 got me so hard the other day. So normally I have like full sets of the turtles that are from the movies. Like I focused mostly on the 2 or the 3 live action movies. Yes, I even have the Samurai Turtles, even though that movie is not good. But then what I do is I typically just buy Donatello. So like when I have like a Super 7 Donatello, I have the Donatello as Invisible Man. Like I just get him. He's my favorite turtle. I saw all 4 of the sketch turtles. Those debut sketch turtles that Playmates has out, all 4 of them at Target, and they were 20% off. I was like, I can't not get them. Like I can't just get. I wanted just Donatello, but I got all 4 of them, and I'm super glad I did. They're awesome. They're hideous and ugly, just just like the original sketch, but they can like hit the pose from the original Eastman and Laird sketch. They're absolutely hideous and wonderful, and I love them. But I literally, as I was grabbing them, I had my daughter with me, and she's like, "I thought you usually only get Donatello," and I literally looked at her and I said, "Rule of 4."
She was
Put
like,
them in the
"Yep."
cart. So yeah, your rule of 4 got me the other
That's
day.
what I did with the Mutant Mayhems. If there weren't all 4 staring at me, I wouldn't have got. Like I would have waited.
There was
Rule of
one
4.
time we were at a Target. I think this was with the Target exclusive mutating, like the throwback mutating turtles. It might have been something else, but I'm pretty sure it was that. And I was walking up and down, and there were 3 in the aisle, and I was like, "Oh, phew! There's only 3. I can rest easy." And then we were walking, and then the 4th one that was missing was just in another aisle, and I came across someone just picked it up and put it in the wrong aisle. So I saw that and had to backtrack and go get the other 3 from the turtle section, and then that 4th one that was wherever it was, 2 or 3 aisles down. And yeah, so I abide.
They got, and there's the 4-pack of all the Universal Monsters ones now too in black and white.
Yeah, in black and white. Yeah, I hopefully I don't come across that in person. That'll be challenging for me. I've seen the 2-pack. There's a 2-pack with just
I definitely saw the 4-pack the other day.
well, I'll avoid wherever that was.
I don't remember. So.
Well, with that wraps up our Q&A. And that also wraps up this interview. So
Yeah.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us. Really excited to see what you guys have for PulseCon coming up, and hopefully we get a little FaceTime with you at New York Comic Con if it works out. But before we let you go, remind our listeners, our followers, where can they follow you on social media? Where can they stay up to date on Hasbro? And when is PulseCon?
Yeah, so I am sporadically on Instagram and X/Twitter. So I'm at Ryan_Ting is the handle there. Kevin toying around dubbed me the underscore. That's my nickname. I didn't even really realize that because my wife helped me set up those accounts a long time ago. But yeah, so that's where I'll just do stuff when I get around to it. Stay tuned to Hasbro Pulse socials for all the latest official, not speculative, not leaked, but actual reveals and pre-orders and news of that sort. And then PulseCon is live Friday, September 13th. All the brands in one day, and everyone's working really hard on it to make it a really fun show with cool stuff revealed, and I'm sure everyone's going to have some pre-order items up as well. And then, yeah, we're trying to figure out New York Comic Con, which is your guys' neck of the woods. And so, yeah, if we're there, we hope to run into you there.
Awesome. Ryan, thanks again for joining us. Dave, send us home.
Excelsior!
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.